Hello everyone, I'm Sakshi Jain and I'm from Agra. So this video is the part 2 of my series, that is FAQs on ethical issues. So in this part 2, we'll be learning FAQs with respect to practicing chartered accountant, whether it can engage in any other business or an occupation other than the profession of chartered accountancy. So let's get started quickly, and I'm sharing screen here. So the first question is whether a chartered accountant in practice can engage in any business or occupation other than the profession of chartered accountancy. No, with respect to the provisions of clause 11 of part 1 of first schedule to the Act, a chartered accountant in practice cannot engage in any other business or occupation other than the profession of chartered accountancy. However, there are a few exceptions to it, like a practicing chartered accountant can be directors of the company, not managing, not full-time director, but he can be a director of the company unless he or his partner has interest in that company as an auditor. Other than this, there are other exceptions too, like a chartered accountant in practice can engage in either business or occupation, but with some general or specific permissions, which is to be granted by the council. We'll talk about that later. So the next question here is, can a member in practice express his opinion on financial statements of any business or enterprise in which he, his relative, his firm, or a partner in his firm has a substantial interest? No, with respect to the provisions of clause 4 of part 1 of second schedule to the Act, a chartered accountant in practice shall be deemed guilty of the professional misconduct if he expresses his opinion on financial statements of any business or enterprise in which he, his relative, his firm, or a partner in the firm has a substantial interest. Even the companies under Section 141, subsection 3D1 of Companies Act 2013, the member cannot accept audit even if he or his partner holds single share. So a member cannot express his opinion on a financial statement if he or any of his relative or firm or a partner has substantial interest. The next question is, which are the categories of occupations where prior permission is required? Okay, so this is a deep analysis. So let's get into it. Detailed analysis of permission to be granted generally and specifically. We will talk about both. So the first, permission to be granted generally. So employment under chartered accountants in practice or firms of such chartered accountants, you are required to take general permission only. The second one is private tutorship. This is a general permission that is granted. Third, authorship of books and articles. Fourth, holding of life insurance agency license for the limited purpose of getting renewal commission. The point to be noted is it's only for the renewal commission and not for the fresh commission. Fifth, attending classes and appearing for any examination. Sixth, holding of public elective offices such as MP, MLA, or MLC. Seventh, honorary office bearership. Honorary office bearership of charitable, educational, or other non-commercial organizations. So these are some generally granted permissions. There are some more. The eighth one, acting as notary public, justice of the peace, special executive magistrate, and the like. Ninth, part-time tutorship under the coaching organization of the institute, ICI. Part-time tutorship under the coaching organization of ICI. 10th, valuation of paper, acting as a paper setter, head examiner, or a moderator for any examination. It's not just about ICI examination, any examination. The permission granted here is general. 11th, editorship of professional journals. 12th, acting as surveyor and loss assessor under the Insurance Act 1938. 13th, acting as recovery consultant in the banking sector. Point to be noted, recovery consultant and not recovery agent. 14th, owning agricultural land and carrying out agricultural activities. So these are some of the activities where permission is granted generally by the council. Next, we'll move on to permission to be granted specifically. First, full-time or part-time employment in business concerns, provided that the member and or his relative do not hold substantial interest in such concerns. So full-time or part-time employment in business concern, if you want to be a full-time or a part-time employer in any of the business concern, you have to take specific permission from the council, provided you or any of your relative should not hold any substantial interest in such concerns. Next, full-time or part-time employment in non-business concern. In the general permissions, we were talking about honorary post-bearship in the non-business concern, but here we are talking about full-time or part-time employment in non-business concern. So here you have to take the specific permission of the council. Third, office of a managing director or a whole-time director. Just wait. Office of a managing director or a whole-time director of a body corporate within the meaning of the Companies Act 1956, provided that the member and or any of his relatives do not hold substantial interest in such concern. So you have to take specific permission in this case if you want to be managing director or a whole-time director of a body corporate. But in that case too, you or any of your relatives should not hold any substantial interest in such concern. So fourth one, interest in family business concern or concern in which interest has been acquired as a result of relationship and in the management of which no active part is taken. So you are acquiring a business as a product of relationship, or you have any interest in your family business concern. So you have to take specific permission to take part in management, but for that you shouldn't be the active member in the management. You cannot take active participation in the management. Fifth, interest in any educational institute. Then sixth, part-time or full-time lectureship for courses other than those relating to the institute examination conducted under the auspices of the institute or the regional councils or their branches. So if you want to have part-time or full-time lectureship for courses other than those relating to institute examination, you have to take the specific permission from the council. Part-time or full-time tutorship. Under any educational institution other than the coaching organization of the institute. So for private tutorship, you do not have to take any specific permission, but for the part-time or full-time tutorship under any educational institution, you have to take the specific permission. 8, editorship of journals other than professional journals. For professional journals, only general permission is there, but for editorship of journals other than professional journals, you have to take specific permission from the council. Any other business or occupation for which the executive committee considers that the permission may be granted. Okay. So these are 9 of the points where you have to take the specific permission from the council. So further, these specific and general permission which have been granted by the council are subject to the condition that the member who is engaged in this business or occupation with the special and general permissions are not allowed to do the attestation functions. But this is not applicable to all the business and occupations we have talked about. This is applicable only to few of them. So where we are not, so we'll talk about that where we are not able to do attestation functions in a video later. So this is all about today's video. I hope I am clear in my presentation. So for more updates, stay tuned. Thank you.